All right, so my first article was mathematics teachers' enactment of cognitively demanding tasks, investigating links to teachers' knowledge and conceptions by A.G. Wilhelm from the Journal for Research in Mathematics Education. I read this article to address my topic of best practices for closing the achievement gap and the subtopic preparing teachers to implement high-level cognitively demanding tasks. Um, I read the article from the position of wanting to know more about helping teachers successfully implement cognitively demanding tasks. There's evidence to support that these tasks continue to be challenging for teachers to implement. Um, that these tasks are valuable learning opportunities for all students, not just high achieving students. When these tasks are used in U.S. schools, the demand of the task is not maintained. The research for this article was conducted in 4 large urban districts. 6 to 10 middle grade schools were selected from each district, and within each school, up to 5 teachers were selected for a total of 30 teachers per district, and both qualitative and quantitative data were collected. The major findings were that teachers with more experience are less likely to implement new reform curricula in the intended way, and that new teachers tended to decrease the cognitive demand of the task. So the implications of the study is that pre-service and in-service teachers are lacking the methodology to implement the task, and that it is important to model for teachers how to implement high-level cognitively demanding tasks. Um, Cognitively demanding tasks are essential to the development of conceptual knowledge in math, and most teachers are not adequately prepared to implement these tasks and maintain the level of difficulty necessary to develop conceptual knowledge. So what is needed is modeling for teachers how to accomplish this. My second article was exploring relationships between setting up complex tasks and opportunities to learn and concluding whole class discussions in middle grades mathematics instructions by K. Jackson, A. Garrison, J. Wilson, L. Gibbons, and E. Shahan from the Journal for Research in Mathematics Education. For this article, it was about um, how teachers need to successfully set up the complex task, that if you skip setting it up appropriately, then students are less likely to be successful. What needs to be addressed would be common language is to be used, certain concepts that they should use. Um, the study included 165 middle grades mathematics teachers from 4 urban school districts. The findings suggest that in lessons in which the setup supported students to develop common language to describe contextual features and mathematical relationships specific to the task, and that the cognitive demand of the task was maintained in the setup. Concluding whole class discussions were characterized by high quality opportunities to learn. So the example given for a best practice would be a lesson structured in 3 phases. The first phase, the teacher clarifies expectations for the final work product and how students should work individually or in groups to solve the task. Phase 2, while students are solving the task, the teacher circulates among the students, paying close attention to what they are doing. And during this time, the teacher decides what ideas and what solutions to make a focal point during whole class discussions that follows in phase 3. And the whole class discussion is aimed at developing all students' increasingly sophisticated understanding of the concepts. During the research, it was noticed that the task setup appeared to affect which students could participate in solving the task and in what ways. It is not reasonable to expect that all students will have requisite or similar understanding of a given task statement. If a student does not understand key aspects of the scenario, it is unlikely that she will engage in solving the task. So the implications from this article was that teachers need to make judgments regarding what to focus on in the setup. These judgments must be made against a clear set of mathematical goals for instruction and knowledge of what is likely to be unfamiliar to students. So to sum up these two articles, basically in my research, the two things that I've come across is that that's really important to the learning that occurs in a classroom is the teacher, and how well the teacher knows her material, and how well the teacher has the skills to pass that knowledge on to her students. And two, using open-ended, cognitively challenging tasks to get students to use what they know and to build new concepts that can develop during these tasks. And then the task must have an adequate setup, must be implemented correctly without the teacher lowering the demand of the task, which tends to happen. And in my experience with Eureka Math and speaking to other teachers, I believe that is our problem, at least in Iberia Parish, is that teachers tend to dumb down the activities in Eureka Math. They tend to give too much information to their students. They tend to guide them too much through the task and basically bring it down to a simple procedural activity instead of it really being a conceptual building task. And then finally, once the kids have done the task, there should be a whole class discussion at the end using examples that the teacher observed during the task completion, and use student work to help summarize and accentuate what it was that was learned that day as far as for mathematical concepts.